Hey everybody, it's your boy Lloyd Spence, and July is underway in a great month of sports. Man, I have enjoyed these NBA finals. Man, they've been so good. But I've enjoyed all the sports I've watched. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Shout out to sports in general, man. If you are into sports like I'm into sports and you're into betting like, a lot of people are, BetOnline is where you can find it. From the NBA and hockey playoffs to baseball's marquee matchups, including prop bets and futures, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. So, visit the website today. You already know what it is. Use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before your next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Tell them Lloyd Spence and the Noisemaker sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Can I make you move now? Yes, I can. So you can get this move in a bag of a can. You can make it round the world and the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer, Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course, Mama Noise's name, Lloyd Spence. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
We are super glad to be here with you this morning on BLEAV in the ACC. I'm not Kendrick Haskins. That's Kendrick Haskins over there. I am Lloyd Spence. Kendrick Haskins is in the building. He is the sportscaster of the year, and we want to remind him of that as many times as we possibly can. And also joining us this morning is none other than the man himself, Mr. Charlie Ward.
Coach Junior?
Coach Junior is in the building. He's a state championship. Aside from being a Heisman Trophy winner and a national championship quarterback, he is also a state championship coach. But he's busy today. Like, what's Charlie? What is going on?
That's not his house. What house?
That is not his house. I'm not sure where he is today. What
house is that, Coach Junior?
I'm in the airport.
You're in the airport, really? Taking the trip, are we? Where we headed out to, Charlie Ward?
And there's my lovely wife.
Hey! This seems like a really important trip that you're going on. What might be happening on
For
this?
her to be going with you, this must be an important trip.
It feels like an important trip, Kendrick Haskins. I got to tell you. What's going on with you, Charlie Ward?
Yeah, there's quite a few things going on. It's interesting. But I get an opportunity to go on a trip with my wife. We're going to Pasadena, California. And actually,
it's a beautiful place. It's a very pretty place.
Love Pasadena. Yeah. Very beautiful.
That's the Rose Bowl.
Yes, it is.
But
what house are you visiting, Charlie?
There's a house in Pasadena.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it's a big mansion too. It's
really nice. Really. What is there a particular Is it a type of house? Is there a name for this house?
Can just anybody go to this house?
Can anybody just go to the house, or is this invite only?
Well, this particular one is invite only, but there are some other. I think they use this house as well to do some movie shooting as well. So
you don't say. Wow. Okay. Are you going to participate in any of that?
I wish I was doing family reunion part 2, but that's not the case.
Yeah, they took that out there, Charlie. They took that out there.
But hopefully this fall I'll be. I get a chance to be on the Nissan commercials.
You're not referring to those Heisman commercials, are you, Charlie? The Heisman House commercials, are you? Is that what you're referring to right now, Charlie Ward?
Yes.
I thought as much.
And that was a Charlie Ward Humble Flex.
It's the one we've been waiting on forever, man. Congratulations. Yeah, about time.
About time. All the campaigning we've done.
I'm just saying they got the letters, the emails, the faxes. It's about time.
Right, the carrier pigeons.
Congratulations, man. That's incredible news.
I appreciate it.
So now who will be joining you in the Heisman house? Who will be joining you there? Are you at liberty to say, or you got right now?
I don't. I'll keep it at bay, but it's.
Okay. But other Heisman, usually it's other Heisman winners.
We can probably guess just by watching all the commercials.
It's going to be relatively the last guy, next to the last guy, and then the next to the next to the next last guy. So those,
gotcha.
Those guys are in it. And then you got ESPN personnel. You can do 2 and 2, put that together. Who fit the bill. Then you got a couple of old heads.
and you represent one of the old heads, right?
Yeah, I'm included in that mix.
Hey, Charlie Ward, that is amazing news. I'm so happy for you, man. This is long overdue, by the way.
Yeah, actually, like I said, I've been on it before, but it's been a minute. But it's been good though.
It's time to bring back the great Charlie Ward.
I just hope that I don't get mistaken for a mascot this time.
No, I think they'll do you right this time, Charlie.
Can you tell them to go ahead and board that plane?
Yeah, we can hear him. Tell him we can hear him. Hey, man.
Giving us all those scoop.
Gotcha. Well, listen, we know you got to go, but man, so excited for you, bro. That is the best news today by far. And man, go kill it, man. Go do your thing. I can't wait to see it.
Well, look forward to it, and should be some fun scenes. I know what I'm in. Anyway,
see if you can get the wife in the scene too. They've never had a Heisman Trophy winner's wife in there. Maybe you can slip her into the show. That'd be a nice twist.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Have you gotten your lines down yet?
It's not. They're not hard. They're a couple of words.
Well, look,
not very hard at all.
I hear you, man. Listen, man. Thank you, Charlie, for jumping on, man. I appreciate you, brother, and you have a safe flight. And I can't wait to hear all about the experience.
I appreciate it, and I'm curious to know, like, where are you?
I'm actually at my grandma. I'm at my grandmother's house, so we're waiting on our other situation to be resolved because there's some stuff that wasn't quite ready yet. So we decided let's just take a vacation. So we went. So I'm in Arkansas. I'm in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yes.
All right.
Hanging out with my 98-year-old grandmother.
Oh wow.
Nice. I'm in the basement.
You in the basement?
He's in the basement. Yeah, he's in the basement.
Where you got the lights above your head?
Yeah, progressive light. Marine light.
He normally keeps a spotlight there, but he's got that sitting on the trophy, on the sportscaster gear
Oh,
trophy.
okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have it. He normally has it over his head, but he's got it on the trophy.
That's good.
Hey, you all got me enough last show. This is all Charlie today.
This is all listen. I'm so excited for you, Charlie, man. This is a great. That is awesome, brother. That's awesome. I wish we could tell everybody who's in the house, but they'll figure it out if they go back and really listen to what you said. They'll go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And they'll figure it out.
There'll be a short guy. There'll be
Very short guy. A wee tiny man will be joining. He's a very short guy.
There'll be a former baseball player.
Yeah, you get a chance to impart some wisdom too, Charlie. That's exciting. That part's exciting too. Hopefully they'll pick your brain. They'll really pick your brain.
I don't know what for, but
Because Charlie Ward knows, and he's had some experiences that they can glean from. That's why.
Right. And you can turn them on to some vegan recipes like you do us.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. He's probably got them on the phone ready to go right now.
Yep.
we're gonna hit a spot on the way to the hotel.
You got one picked out already?
Yes, when the wife is with you, and then yes, everything's kind of picked out.
She's already got it right now.
You're just along for the ride at this point, even though it's your event.
Good, but it's all good though.
That's cool, man. That's very, very cool.
That's awesome.
very, very
Can't
cool.
wait to see Coach Junior on all these commercials all during football season.
It's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great. Because they normally shoot them all at one time, and then that's it for the year, right? They don't double back.
It's just this weekend.
I was gonna say they normally they prep them and that's it. So
It's 2
all
long days.
Charlie Ward all year, all the time. I can't wait.
Should be fun.
What I'm
Florida
gonna
State 17 jersey again.
see if you can contractually get them to allow us to use the commercials on BLEAV in the ACC. I just feel like that's right. That feels right to me.
Well, there will be opportunities for us to do something as far as social media posts and those types of things. So stay tuned.
Carry on, Charlie. I like it.
Be awesome. That's awesome.
I like it.
Finally.
Say
Back
finally.
in the house. You
I
no longer in
cherish
the
this moment.
The way that it's supposed to be. The way that it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Well, I'm enjoy it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, you got a lot going on in that background, Charlie. So we're gonna let you get ready for your flight.
All right, brothers.
We appreciate you, brothers.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Have a good one.
All right.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
That's cool stuff, man. That is cool stuff. Charlie Ward is finally in the Heisman house. I love it.
Well, he's back. He's back.
Well, he's back. Well, but he's back. Like that. That first one was okay, but come on.
I don't even remember.
I don't remember it either. So, I need him to be in there prominently, where it's Charlie Ward.
Right.
There you go. All right, man. Well, listen, man, I'm wearing black today because college football, as we know it, is dying.
Mm-hmm. It's killing itself.
It's killing itself. And I was like, I should dress appropriately. So, so when we were gone on our little vacation, apparently UCLA and USC decided we'll leave. We don't want to be in the Pac-12 anymore. We'd rather be in the Big Ten. I'm like, what?
Halfway across the country.
So, and unfortunately, the story kind of got drowned out because all of my mic muted, but there you go. The story got drowned out for all the craziness going on in the NBA. But the reality of it is,
You got that text too.
That's hilarious. And I really, what's funny? When he comes back, I definitely want to ask him about what are some of the things he's hearing around Florida State, and what you're hearing in Louisville? Because right now, the ACC is in, as weird as it sounds, they're in a dangerous spot because
Very dangerous spot.
it looks like they may be the odd man out, I guess, of all of this. And you're hearing the rumors that Clemson, that Florida State, that Notre Dame, that I'm assuming Miami. I mean, not Miami. Well, Miami is one of those. I'm assuming Louisville is having some conversations right now. But what are you hearing in Louisville? Are you hearing anything?
It's a lot of people scared. I was like, what's the future going to hold? Like when the first conference talk first came out, we was hearing first thing I heard. Now, of course, not from anybody official, of course.
Right.
First thing I heard is Louisville, Clemson, Florida State, Miami to the SEC.
To the SEC, right.
Right. But the thing is, what benefit does that have for Kentucky? What benefit does that have for the SEC to have two teams in Kentucky? And also with Florida, you have three teams in Florida in the SEC. How are you growing? But I mean, they drive TV money, and so the ACC teams are stuck in that ACC network contract to like 2036 or something like that. And so
something ridiculous. Yeah. What I don't understand about any of it, because I didn't get the UCLA move at all. That made zero sense to me. In fact, I would imagine that is going to be a logistical nightmare because now
it'll be fine for basketball and football, but all the other sports going from LA to Piscataway, New Jersey.
That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. So I don't get, and even with football and basketball, well, more so football, I would say, than basketball, because basketball, you go on these week swings and you go out to an area and you're there for a while or whatever. So I get that a little bit. But with football, you're basically going to be gone 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. If you because you're not going to fly back and forth, I would assume. So is it? I don't know. It just sounds bananas.
But with football being once a week, yeah, they probably will. I mean, they just fly out Thursday.
I guess surely they're going to do back-to-back games, I would think.
They may not. Maybe not for football. Not for the other sports, for sure. But for football, maybe not. Because it's a one game.
Week. But that's a lot of traveling, man. That's a lot of. I would imagine the betting lines are going to be every team that has to fly out to UCLA, USC every time they play. Those teams are going to lose because it's a lot, man. That's I don't know.
How about USC has to play at?
Well, that's the other side. They're going to lose their games because they got,
especially if it's a noon kick. I mean,
you got to go to Maryland,
California,
right? I don't get why or how the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC are emerging as the go-to conferences now. I'm not getting why
I don't get the Big 12. I do get the SEC and Big 10 because they make so much money on their TV contracts, especially the Big 10. I mean, they're making money hand over fist on their TV contract. Now, because they got in early, they were the first, and their TV contract is making them all kinds of money. So in the SEC, same deal. But like the Big 12, I think I can kind of see a world where the Big 12 and the ACC end up merging.
That would be the smart play for both of them to make a play like that. And then all of a sudden now you got, and that might be the thing that would drive Notre Dame to finally
I think Notre Dame's going to the Big 10.
Come on in the house. Well, the Big 10 makes the most logistical and financial sense because they can basically merge those contracts and probably triple or quadruple their money that they're making. For Notre Dame, it comes down to one thing. Why would we give up money that we don't have to share with anybody for money that we got to share with everybody? So
But I think they would make more money though if they would go ahead and join the Big Ten. I think I've heard that. I think they would make more money in the Big Ten than they are independent with their NBC contract.
well, the irony of the Notre Dame situation is that they're kind of more Big Ten than they are ACC anyway.
Right.
I mean, they play Michigan, they play Michigan State, they play Ohio State, so they really belong more
USC.
football. Yeah, they play USC, so they really belong more to the Big Ten than they do to the ACC. They only belong to the ACC when it comes to basketball. So it's not a I don't know. And I think their ideal scenario would be if they could somehow do both conferences. It'd be like
they basically been doing that.
They do that anyway, right? They do that anyway. So
I think they played Louisville more than anybody in the ACC because they play almost every year since this contract has come along.
Right. So I guess so help me understand this other part though, because what I don't understand, I guess, is the ultimate end game. Other than I know it's financial. We all know it's financial. But what are we headed towards? Because none of this is good for the whole. Like because now it sounds like we're about to have the haves, and we kind of have it now, but we're really, really going to have the haves and the have-nots. Like if you're a mid-major, you have zero shot to make a bowl game or a high-level bowl game. It's over. They're going to, if you're not in Big 10, Big 12, SEC going forward, you have no shot to make a bowl game, like a championship game. Because
championship.
Right. So is this just a thing where now it's going to be, and is this the beginning of the succession plan that we've been hearing so long, for so long, like we're about to leave the NCAA altogether?
I think that's what's about to happen. I think the mid-major schools are the ones that's going to be left out eventually. It feels like because even the NCAA tournament for basketball, it feels like it's just all going to be these major conferences because it's going to be enough teams in those conferences to fill the tournament. And so it's unfair, I think, to those smaller schools. But, I mean, that's kind of the way of the world right now. And we'll see. It feels like the NCAA is kind of killing itself, to be honest with you. Or college athletics are kind of killing themselves. And because I don't like the direction it's going in, to be honest with you, with just these four, even if it's four major conferences with all these teams in one conference. I mean, it's just weird.
Well, it's weird, and it doesn't
feel like they have any direction.
Right. It doesn't feel directional, and it just doesn't. It just feels like a weird money grab that doesn't make sense. Like you're already $1 billion plus. You're all in $1 billion plus situation. What does this do that you're not already doing? Like what is? I don't get the game. Other than this, that by forming the mega conference, you can cut out the middleman. And maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe ultimately this is just saying we're sick of the NCAA. We want to cut out the middleman once and for all and just do our own thing.
Ultimately, I think that's what's going to happen. Is like they're just going to eliminate the NCAA altogether.
But should the inmates run the asylum? That's what it feels.
It's like I'm like, okay, if you want to blow up the NCAA, fine, because the NCAA is kind of running its course. They can't make decisions. I mean, this whole U of L thing has been going on for 6 years now. Nothing takes that long.
Right.
And so I can see, okay, if you're going to blow up the NCAA, fine. But it feels like they don't have a plan going forward after that. This is just like, always going to join we all going to join one conference or whatever. And there's like no model. And it's like, what are you doing? I get it, but what are you going to do after you get rid of the NCAA? And this does not feel like there's a plan. I think if they're going to do that, they need to have some kind of plan, maybe like what they do with soccer over in Europe or whatever, because I like the way they do with the contraction and stuff. If you sorry, you go down.
Right.
I do kind of like that model. I don't think that would ever fly here, but that is that the direction they're going to go? Because like it just doesn't feel like there's a direction once they get rid of the NCAA.
Yeah, and that's what I think everybody's going. What is this? Like, I don't know. You know, it reminds me of kind of what's going on in golf right now. Like they're in their minds, I think they think the bigger payday is to separate, which it could be. It very well could be.
For the individual golfers, it is. I mean, look
For the individual schools, there's some schools that are going to benefit. But I'll say this: I think it's going to play out exactly the way that Live Golf has played out. Yeah, we'll all get better money, but the better schools are still going to get the better money. So now, where Alabama was having to split to some degree with the SEC, Alabama's the brand. So now they're going to get the lion's share. The Clemsons are going to get the lion's share. The Notre Dames are going to get the lion's share. The brand, it's not going to work out, I don't think, the way every one of these schools thinks it's going to work out. Because if I'm an independent contractor and I'm going off of what my value is, well, I'm not going to take less value. I'm only taking less value Alabama because I have to. But if I don't have to, I'm going to go get what I'm worth. And who's worth more than Alabama? Who's worth more than Clemson? Who's worth more than Ohio State, Michigan? They're going to get the lion's share. So Rutgers, sorry, you're not going to get what everybody else is getting.
See, because I can also see some changing there with the smaller schools within the Big Ten and the SEC. Like, eventually, it's going to be like, why is Vanderbilt it's already like that anyway. Why is Vanderbilt in the SEC and Florida State's not? It's going to be stuff like that, like Maryland. Maryland never made sense in the Big Ten. I mean, I think if there's going to be realignment and changing, I'm thinking like Maryland should go back to the ACC. Rutgers should be in the AAC or whatever conference you think. You know,
right.
They should be in the Big East. I don't know what you do with their football, but they should be something that's more Eastern centric. Maybe Rutgers and maybe Boston College and Pitt, they get back in the Big East and they get football back, with UConn and all of that, and maybe the ACC, gets more central, gets to Cincinnati and West Virginia. That makes more sense than them playing in the Big 12. If we got things that make sense to me, but I can see teams coming and going out of conferences. That's why I was talking about with the soccer model with teams dropping or whatever if they have a bad season. I can kind of see that model where if Vanderbilt's not up to snuff, then they go back down to the Great Midwest Conference or whatever.
I remember back in 2020 when you were just talking, it reminded me of a Sports Illustrated article that came out. Do you remember that one where they did a realignment thought process of how it could work?
Yeah,
there's like 120 teams, 10 leagues, 10 conferences, if you will. The Deep South, the Great Mideast, the Great Midwest, the Mid-American, the Mid-Atlantic, Pac-12, Rocky Mountain, Southwest, Sun Belt, and the Yankee is what they called it. Where Louisville ended up with UK, Illinois,
Indiana.
Marshall,
NIU, conference because it looked like a really good basketball conference.
Yeah. It's an interesting model, and from a logistical perspective, it's a better looking model because here's a couple of things that I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated with all of this. So one of the things to me this new alignment thing is doing is that we're finally admitting the truth. We don't give a damn about college athletes.
Mm-mm.
The college part,
tradition.
Right? Tradition, the college student part of it, we could care less. It has nothing to do with any of that. because there's no way you can justify having USC and UCLA and all of these teams cross traveling the way that they're about to cross travel and say we want college students to be successful. No, you don't.
Right.
You're hoping they're successful in the midst of this chaos, but that's not priority at all.
No.
So with this new model, what you like about it is that it has powerhouse in every conference, but at the same time, it also allows for travel to be minimized. Like, just to give you an example, in their model in the Deep South, they've got UCF, FAU, FIU, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern, Miami, South Florida, and UAB, basically all in the same conference. Well, that's probably a 200-mile radius at best, 200 to 300-mile radius at best. You can do day travel, or it's a pretty simple. At worst, I mean, at best, you're talking 30 minutes to an hour flights. At worst, you're talking about half a day trips to drive up there or whatever. So and they're all kind of set up like that. So if that's what emerges from all of this,
I don't see that.
Huh?
I don't see that emerging though.
That's the problem. Therein lies the problem. Because I'm not. Do I really want to sit and watch South Florida versus Florida State? No.
Right.
Not as it currently stands today.
And I'm saying no disrespect to Georgia Southern, but I mean, do you want to see Georgia Southern in Miami?
No.
And so, TV wise, and plus, I'm saying, and for all that to happen, basically, you're saying you're going to break up the conferences too. Well, it's the conferences that's running everything, the ones that are making all the money, and so that's why that's not going to happen. And so,
which Kendrick, that's what makes this weird to me, because what drives college football now is the tradition of it all. That's what makes us want to watch. I know I'm going to watch a great game in Ohio State, Michigan. Traditionally, I'm waiting on Miami to kick the ball wide left or wide right against Florida State. That's what I want to see. I want 7 overtimes with Arkansas and LSU. If I'm not getting that, what the hell am I watching? I don't understand what this is supposed to be at that point.
Well, and that's why they'll keep the conferences, because you'll still get that. And so, I can get the conferences wanting to get rid of the NCAA. It's just, what's your next move after you do that? Because like I said, you'll still get those Miami, Florida State games. You'll still get the LSU, Arkansas, saying Alabama, Auburn. You'll still have those. Those aren't going anywhere because they make money.
Right.
But things you're not maybe not gonna get anymore is like Alabama, Miami. You know what I'm saying, or Alabama, Florida State. When you're not going to get those anymore because like the SEC, they're almost wiping out their conference rivalry games now because they're expanding their conference schedule so much. Because that's been the talk around here for a couple of years now. So what's going to happen with the Kentucky-Louisville football game? Because the SEC keeps expanding their schedule to the point to where they may not be able to play that game anymore. And so that's what's going to happen. You'll still get your interconference rivalry games. It's just those, like the Georgia. You won't get the Georgia Tech, which that's not that big of a deal nationally, but it is a big deal down there.
Big deal there, yeah.
So you're not going to get those anymore.
The Big 12 is meeting in Arlington, Texas, as we speak. And yesterday they had their meetings and they were talking about the expansion. And I think this is the year. Is this the year BYU and Cincinnati and Houston? It's either this year or next year, but it's coming. Yeah. And so I just wonder. But the commissioner said something interesting, which leads me to believe this is going to get far worse before it gets better. He said we're open for business, so anything's on the table.
And so what scares me, though, is like they are being proactive. You're hearing from the Big 12. You're hearing from the Pac. You haven't heard anything from the ACC. It's like,
yeah, well, I think the ACC knows they're in trouble. Like, because if Clemson, who could make a ton more, because if they go to the SEC, which is the logical move for them,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, can you imagine a yearly Clemson-Alabama game, a yearly Clemson-Arkansas game? LSU, I mean, they're gonna make a killing, man. And it does not
Clemson
benefit
Auburn
them.
game.
Yeah, it does not. It does not benefit them, honestly, to stay in the ACC football-wise. It just doesn't.
No.
With all due respect to ACC football, and I mean all due respect, we don't have those type of teams.
The thing working in the ACC's favor is that Clemson has an easier route to the national championship game if they stay in the ACC.
That's the only thing.
But, everything else, financially, competition-wise, if you want to step up the competition, it makes more sense to go to the SEC. And I mean, and the same goes for the Miamis of the world. I mean, yeah, Miami hasn't done much in the ACC, but I mean, it makes. And I've even heard Miami in the Big Ten.
That makes sense too. Honestly, that also makes sense
when you look at the academic side of things.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Country, it makes total sense within the Big, and it makes sense for the Big Ten to expand down south. And so, I could see Miami going to the Big Ten and maybe not the SEC.
I gotta be honest, man. I don't. I feel like we're gonna have to change the name of the show because I just don't see how. I don't see how the ACC, unless the ACC can convince the Big 12 to merge into one big mega super deal. I don't see how the ACC survives this. I think they're going to be the odd man out.
It feels like it.
Yeah, they got to go to the Big 12 hat in hand and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing tomorrow? Like, are y'all busy?"
Yeah, and that you up text.
Right. Because I would imagine the Big 12 would be amenable to a conversation right now because they lost their star brands in Texas and Oklahoma.
Right.
So if ever there would be a time to have this conversation, it would be right now and really right now. And it kind of would make sense too now that you're bringing in Cincinnati. Now there's still some logistical nightmare stuff in the BYU thing that makes zero sense. But at least go ahead and bridge the gap, and then maybe. And you know what? Here's another weird thing to throw out there. Maybe you do a dual thing and have a conversation with Gonzaga, and say, "Hey, why don't y'all come and join us as well?" And now you're back to being that. Now you've expanded the basketball side, which brings another extra added value that you didn't expect to have. You know what I mean?
And see, I can see the Pac-12 making a move for Gonzaga.
Well, I'm surprised they already have it, if I'm being honest with you, because
it be in the works.
Yeah, I was gonna say because Gonzaga would come into the Pac-12 and immediately be the favorite. Like they would be the best team in
the only
Pac-12.
thing is football. I think that's the hang up with that.
That's the hang up. It's just I don't know how they would work around that, but I guess it's no different than when Georgetown was in the Big East. They didn't have football, nobody cared about it. It was just like, okay, but keep winning these, keep Big John, keep taking us to the Final Four, and we'll that'll make up for all of that. So
the way things are going right now, I mean, we're talking about odd man out. Gonzaga could be an odd man out because of the football thing. Because football is the one that's running everything, and so Gonzaga could be an odd man out.
They're going to have to link. They're going to have to hitch their wagon to somebody quickly. And now, okay, so now let me throw out another scenario. Now this is just nuttiness what I'm about to say right now. But should the ACC contact the Pac-12? Because logistics don't matter.
I mean, really, I really do think the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC all need to be on a three-way
just
call.
come together. Yeah.
And
three-way call. Hey, man, I'm going to conference you in.
One big Zoom.
One big Zoom. And let's figure this out.
Because, I mean, because, like, who wouldn't want a Cardinals versus Cardinal rivalry with U of L and Stanford?
Now listen. We're laughing, but listen. A Pac-12 ACC, right? A Pac-12 ACC Big 12 merger levels the playing field. because there's enough brandage through all of that to justify, and it stops Notre Dame from leaving.
I don't know.
Let me just tell you why I think so.
In my mind, I'm just like Notre Dame's going to the Big Ten. That's just stuck in my mind.
And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I think it would at least make Notre Dame pause, because you're bringing in it would have been much better had you not lost USC and UCLA.
Right.
Because now you have the LA market. But
because now your LA market.
Yeah, now I just forgot about that. I forgot about that part. Yeah. They waited too long for the conference call.
And then the other key in that scenario is, what's Oregon gonna do? Because Oregon is one of those programs that's the pretty girl that's out there. So let's go down the road you just laid, because I like this road you just went down. So a triple merger like that, who are the brands? The brands would then become Oregon, Stanford, right? Kansas,
Louisville,
Duke,
Duke, North Carolina, Clemson, Miami, and Florida State. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know if that's enough to make Notre Dame stay. It is enough to make them stay basketball-wise. It's not maybe enough to make them stay football-wise. Right. That's the point. But it is if they were to say, well, our path to a national championship is still pretty simpler going through this merger than it would be going to the grind of the Big Ten or the SEC.
If you look at it right now, if that was the conference set up right now, I mean, Notre Dame would be the favorite.
Notre Dame would be the favorite. Right. They battled out with Oregon. Stanford would be the biggest winner of all, because, my God, they could finally recruit everybody now, even though the academic standards don't change, but they could at least get some of the same kids that were going to go to Notre Dame. They can maybe get some of those kids now because they're going to play Notre Dame. So this is it. I don't hate that scenario. And you know what's funny? College football is Kevin Durant right now. Like, it's going to take a massive trade situation.
It's more like Kyrie, because
it's definitely got some Kyrie tendencies for sure.
Yeah, you don't know what you're gonna wake up to every day.
It's definitely got some Kyrie tendencies. I think you're right, though. I think it's gonna take something like that, and it needs to happen now, though. They need to stop waiting on it. They need to. I don't know what ACC is waiting on. Maybe they're having those conversations and we're just not privy to it.
It just feels like throughout the whole thing, because even when the merger started happening the first time when they brought Louisville in, the ACC was the last one to act then, because like Big 12 had already made some moves, and like SEC and the Big, everyone had made moves. ACC was the last then, and like right now it just feels like the ACC is constantly dragging its feet when it comes to merger and all of this stuff.
So I got to ask you this question: did Louisville make a mistake by not pushing harder to get into the Big 12?
No. Well, they pushed. They tried. I mean, came down to them in West Virginia, and they chose.
Right. They were West Virginia.
But I think
Big 12 made a mistake.
It was a mistake for West Virginia at the time. And even right now, I'd say no. I think they made the right decision for geographically. Obviously, it makes more sense.
Right.
But and hey, they got games with Notre Dame now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked out. And then basketball wise, I mean, you get Duke and North Carolina every year. I mean, it makes sense for them to go to the ACC. It's just now, what direction are going to go? What direction is the conference going to go in now? Because I think U of L is pretty much they're locked into the ACC. I think that's their best bet, unless somehow they can get into the SEC, which I don't see that happening, because I can't see Kentucky letting them in. Because why would they? I don't.
Yeah. Although, man, Louisville in the SEC, football wise, would be good for them. Basketball wise, I don't think it would be. I think.
It would. I think so. I think it would be. The way
You
the
think?
SEC's improved. Oh yeah. You get Kentucky twice a year. Probably, I would imagine you're probably in the same division. You get Kentucky and Tennessee every year. And
Well, I would imagine Louisville would come into the SEC as a basketball school with a pretty dominant presence right off the stop. But I don't know what that trend, because I don't love SEC basketball like that. Like, I don't think it's very good.
I'm not a big SEC basketball fan either, but this year it was a lot. I mean,
it was better this year. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was better this year. It was
come along. I mean, Auburn was just in the Final Four 2 years ago.
Right.
The SEC has come a long way in basketball. Plus, you throw in Texas in there and Oklahoma. So, I mean, those are pretty decent basketball programs when they want to be. And so,
Yeah.
I think that it'll be a good. Plus, like you said, Louisville would come in and be in the upper echelon of the conference, and so it's not a bad move.
Well, this first shakeup is going to be quite interesting to see what happens, but I'm curious to see what the long term is. I'm really curious about that.
It feels like these schools are curious too. It doesn't feel like they have.
Yeah. Where's Greg Norman when you need him? Like, I don't understand what Greg Norman is doing. Like, is he that busy with live golf that he can't help with this?
Hey, have you seen that private jet? He's raising funds.
I'm gonna tell you something. That's a whole nother conversation. But my God, that has been a massive shakeup as well. I'm very curious to see how this all unfolds. You know what? Somebody needs to call Jay Billis. Just call Jay Billis. He'll help you sort this out.
He should be the commissioner
of the new whatever this is.
I mean, he's an attorney, so I mean, he's got the law side of it. So yeah.
I've always fancied Jay as the smartest dude in sports that nobody's using. Like, he's. I'm sure ESPN is thankful to have him doing what he's doing, but that guy could be doing so much more. Like, it's
right.
He's a brilliant mind, but I just don't know where this is headed. But boy, it's interesting. I'd be lying to say it's not interesting. It's because it feels like they're eating their young, and I hate it for the mid majors. I think
what I hate it for the most. You and I went to mid majors, Murray. And Murray. Our school's gonna be left out.
Way out.
Yeah, because I mean,
way out.
Eating football, and so at that level. And so, our schools are getting left out.
Yeah.
And by the way, the U of L had a big announcement today, and I'm on Twitter trying to figure out what it is. I'm pretty much sure that they finally got a name for the football stadium.
Okay, what your best guess? Who you think takes the rights?
It looks like it's going to be a health place.
Baptist East Stadium.
They haven't tweeted anything out as what's going on over there, because like the press conference was started an hour ago.
Okay.
Anything clear on what it was?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either. Is Louisville trending at all?
No.
We'll while
we're on air on my email phones. I can't check my emails.
I was gonna say we're on it. I'm looking online as well. While we're having this, we're looking for this information. I did want to in the last few minutes here have a conversation with you in regards to some of the madness that is actually going on in sports, period. What are your thoughts in the NBA stuff that's going on? Because it's kind of nutty right now.
Like, to think of Donovan Mitchell moving.
Yeah, our guy Donovan is shockingly not be. Yeah.
I think he's finally going to end up in Nick, which I'm sure he's glad to be going home. But the Knicks. Not exactly the best run organization in the NBA. And so
No, it has not been. It for sure has not been. I'm happy for him to kind of get out of Utah because I'm not sure that has been the best overall thing for him. Like not just what has happened on the court. That was okay, but I think just the whole experience as a whole maybe wasn't the best.
I think
he made the best out of it. He made the best out of it, but
yeah, I think it was, and I think it's a good thing for Utah because I do think it was time to blow it up because they weren't going to win a title, and so you got to go ahead and blow it up now while you still got tradable assets because like the haul they got for Rudy Gobert and the haul they're probably going to get Donovan,
they did good.
Rebuild that thing fast. And
yeah, they did good. Some teams believe in the reset button, and then other teams double down in their mediocrity. I'm looking at you, Portland Trailblazers. God, 60.
The Knicks are always hitting the reset button.
Well, yeah, some teams are in a perpetual state of mediocrity and they can't get themselves out. But yeah, I'm excited for Donovan to see where this takes him and what comes out of it. But I'm also curious to see because I get the sense. I'm gonna tell you. Nope, and not a lot of people have been really talking about it, but I get the sense that in some form or fashion, KD and Donovan's fortunes are tied together.
Yeah, that's what they've been saying.
And it's probably to make all of this work, some alliteration of. I think that's the real reason Utah made this decision because they're thinking. We now need to whatever this 4-team, 5-team trade deal that it takes to get KD out of there, we want to be sitting at that table. And so to me, the guys that are going to sit at the table are going to be Utah and probably Oklahoma City because they got assets. They can make some things happen. Now, they don't have players, but they got assets. Utah has the player and the assets, but
I tell you what, not to make much out of the summer league, but what OKC's got with Chet Holmgren and the other guy that's the running point.
Yeah.
When you get those two together with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the start, they're gonna be a fun team to watch.
I don't. But they gotta figure out how to get to the table with just their picks and not let anybody touch. But let me ask you this: is Shai vulnerable because this kid is so good? Like this kid is really good. The one that did this draft.
It's a scenario where they trade Shai.
Yeah. So maybe they do have a player. Yeah, I was say maybe they do have the player in the picks and the whole nine to make some things. So
they can't get too trade happy or whatever or pick happy because Salt Lake and Oklahoma City, and cities like that are places where it's hard to get free agents. So you have to build through the draft.
Right. Well, and that's what makes the pick so valuable because at least you can keep bringing in quality people if you're these schools or whatever. But it's interesting. I fully expect whatever the deal is to get them out of there, KD, Kyrie, and Donovan, and to some degree DeAndre Ayton. It's going to involve 3 to 4 teams minimum.
Yeah, because I think that's the holdup with Ayton going to the Pacers. Because been hearing about that for 2 weeks now, and it still hasn't happened. I think the holdup is KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, and he still may go to the Pacers. The Pacers have
there, but I think that's the holdup is working out the deals.
Yeah, same thing with Kyrie to LA. There's no other team bidding for Kyrie, and there won't be. No. But they can't make the move until they figure out all these other components.
But LA is such a mess. They don't have anything to offer.
They got nothing. They got Russell's expiring contract, and that's it.
Right. And it's the worst contract in the league.
Right. It's the worst contract in the league. Well, I say that, and then Portland just paid this man $60. I just don't understand. But that's a whole nother conversation. $60 million. Wow. Okay. Shout outs. Do you have any shout outs, sir?
Let's see. What am I gonna shout out? Really ain't got that much going on. It's July. I'll give you
It's
a
very
shout out.
quiet. It's very
Shout
quiet.
out to every sportscaster in the country.
Trying their best.
Trying to fill this time every day. And that the godsend is they started high school football practice here this week.
So that
And
helps.
it's like, oh, high school football previews. So
Yep, there you
feel
go.
like that. And so
Yeah,
shout
that
out
helps.
to all my fellow sportscasters filling this time every day in July.
Oh my God. I've literally stopped watching. Oh, one of my shout outs is to Shohei Ohtani, who is killing it right now on the team that sucks because that team is terrible. But my God, he's putting on a show.
Bad. I don't understand it. Yeah,
I don't
Shohei have
I don't
traveled.
either.
They've got good players. Why are they so bad?
I don't know. Because they came to Arlington and Texas just destroyed them, except for the game Shohei Ohtani pitched because he's brilliant. But that dude is putting up legendary numbers all the way across the boards on offense and defense, and he's gonna make a fine Yankee or Red Sox.
Right.
which is inevitable, right?
Mhm.
But I want to give a weird shout out to WWE wrestler Big E, who is recovering from that really weird neck injury that he suffered earlier at the end of last year, I think it was. And he's a fighter, man. He got some pretty tough news because I don't think the neck is fusing quite the way that they thought it would at this point, because he should be well down the road, and it's not. He's not, and it's not sounding great. But he's such a fighter and such a good dude, man. And so you want to root for him, but I just like the guy, so I just want to give him a shout out. And one more time, shout out to Charlie Ward. We are really thrilled.
Shout out to Coach Junior.
Oh my God, we are thrilled because this is one of our biggest complaints over the last year and a half, 2 years we've been doing this.
Our cause.
This has been our cause, and so now we got him his Heisman. So the next thing is the shot clock, and then our work here is done.
The state of Kentucky, I can guarantee you, will be the last one to do it because we're the last ones to do it.
I would think so. I would think so. So, but yeah, that's a shout out there that I would definitely want to give. And so I appreciate you guys, man. Listen, enjoy Believe in the ACC for as long as we are believing the ACC. At some point in the next couple of weeks, this could change to Believe in the ACC, Pac-12, Big 10, or Big 12. Who knows? We don't know. But
believe in the big ACC 12.
Be the big ACC, the Pac of 12 or something. I don't know. It comes some weird name. But for as long as we're here, and we appreciate you guys for rocking out with us. That's Kendrick Haskins right there. The guy that you saw going to the Heisman House was Charlie Ward and his lovely wife, Tanji. And I'm Lloyd Spence. We will see you next week. We'll do it all over again. Happy. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard. And join us next time